there, I'm Thaís and this is the Entrepreneurial Edge, where we highlight the people who are building something remarkable through precision, purpose, and presence. Today's guest has mastered the art of delivering luxury under pressure. Nicole Garcia is the founder and CEO of Empress Jets, a global private aviation charter company that arranges private jet travel for some of the world's most discerning clients. Here's what she does. She's the one you call when you need a private jet. In 4 hours or less, anywhere in the world, and everything is handled to perfection. From sourcing the ideal aircraft to coordinating catering, flight crews, hotel, ground transportation, even yachts. Nicole creates luxury experiences in the air and on the ground. With access to over 7,000 aircrafts worldwide, she's built a business that high-level CEOs, celebrities, and elite travelers depend on when precision and privacy can't be compromised. Nicole, I'm thrilled you're here. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for that great introduction. I'm happy to be here.
Nicole, tell us, did you always see yourself becoming an entrepreneur? Or was there a moment when you realized this business needed to exist?
I always assumed I would be an entrepreneur and business owner. I watched my father as he started different businesses, and it's just something that was always inside of me. I just never knew what the business would be. And when I got out of college, I started off in oil and I ended up in yachting, and that led to private aviation. So it's kind of a path that life gave to me, but it was a journey I always knew I would take.
Let's talk about the name Empress Jets. It's strong, it's elegant. What does that name represent for you? And how did you position the brand in such a competitive market?
So, Empress Jets, as a woman in a very male dominated industry, it sets us apart as a female founder in aviation. And we work with a lot of women who are power women. And we see that really resonate with ladies who fly private, who have the means to do so. But also, a lot of these gentlemen are married to powerful women. And when you think about who's decision maker in the house, it's a lot of times the wife. So, Empress Jets really embodies powerful energy, but also elegance.
Great to hear. And for someone starting a service-based business, especially in the luxury space, what's one thing they should obsess over from day one?
The details. Our clients are very detail oriented, and you cannot make mistakes when we're talking about aviation, people's lives, their money. It's not a cheap thing to do. So they expect the best service. When we might charter an aircraft for a client from New York to London, we're also expected to arrange the ground transportation, catering on the aircraft. And as you mentioned, sometimes when they land, they want us to arrange their villas or hotels, or if they want to go to a yacht, we're trying to create a seamless travel experience for them. Even though our focus is on the jets, it's all encompassing.
That's like the Ritz-Carlton of aviation.
You're paying $100,000 for a flight, you expect some perks.
Right. You've worked with extremely high-level clients, CEOs, artists, global travelers. What's been the most demanding situation you've ever pulled off?
During COVID, when nobody could fly anywhere, I think I was the only person that could get this private jet in and out of Colombia and Bolivia at the time. And we actually had to pull favors with ministers of defense and top level politicians in order to get us in and out of these countries. There was a moment in time I was the only jet that could leave these countries.
Wow. What the systems behind that kind of calm under pressure? Because I was living in that kind of situation. There is a lot of pressure.
There's a lot of pressure. I mean, I got stuck in Israel during the war. I was just visiting friends and we were trapped there. We couldn't get out. And thank God for our connections and my network in this industry, I was able to get out on a private flight. One of my good friends had connections with, I think, the Israeli embassy. And basically, we got out on a political charter flight to Bulgaria. So,
Oh,
pressure is always a part of the game when we're talking about travel through political conflicts or COVID situations and things like that. But I've been doing this for over 13 years. So You gotta stay calm and just really pull all of the connections and contacts that you have to make the mission work.
Wow. And this network in 13 years must be super extensive as well.
I'm blessed, yeah.
You you scaled from being an expert broker to building a global brand. How do you grow something this personalized without losing your touch?
It's hard. It takes a lot of work. It took many years to get to this point. The company is relatively young. It's a couple years old, but I've been doing this for so long. It was really seeing all the things that I disagreed with in other companies that I had worked for that I thought could be improved. And so you collect these bits of knowledge. I've worked for pure brokerages. I've worked for aircraft operators that manage fleets of jets, and you see the different aspects of the industry and you kind of piecemeal what you found to be the best parts of each business and each company you had the luxury of working with, and you put it into your own business with your own flair.
Nicole, did you ever have a moment that you thought this is very challenging? I'm thinking of shifting somewhere else, or you've always believed in the mission so strongly that you never had that?
I did shift for a little bit. I had a 2-year non-compete and I couldn't work in the industry for 2 whole years. I couldn't work in private aviation or yachting because I'm also a yacht broker. And in that time, I tried to start another business, and it's when you leave what you're doing, because I did get a little burnt out at that time. When you leave and you try something different, you realize you do have a passion and a love for this industry, even though it's very challenging. You have mechanical problems, you have difficult clients, you're competing against really high level brokers, and then you come back to it and you're like, wow, I am one of the best in the world at this business, and I appreciate it so much. And it came back with fresh eyes and renewed confidence, and it was because I took that break that I was able to start my own business.
All right, let's move into practical mode. Quick questions, powerful answers. How do you stand out in luxury service?
Because it's very specialized. I've been in this industry for so long. I know a lot of people that new brokers may not know. So I'm always hunting for jets that people don't know about. That's how we get the best prices, really. We have these relationships that have spanned years. And so I can ask for that favor from an owner and say, hey, please, can we like get a little better on that price for this charter flight? And also, we do sales and acquisition for aircrafts, not just charter sales, it's sales and acquisition. We're working on a couple of acquisitions for clients at the moment, and it's because it's a small industry at the end of the day. We all know each other. And so we really have to pool our resources to create the best possible service for our clients. And the fact that I am also a yacht broker is helpful too, because there's a lot of things that you can learn from the yachting industry that translates over into aviation and vice versa. So it's made me better at both.
Okay. If someone was to get into private aviation world, what would they do? The first steps that they should do.
So I get a lot of people who ask me how to become a jet broker or can they join Empress Jets, and because of our TikTok and our social media presence. But I always say that the number one thing you need is a network. I can't teach you how to be really good at having wealthy friends. You have to put yourself in uncomfortable situations. You have to get yourself in the room with the top level CEOs. I mean, these are the richest people in the entire world that are flying private. It's the most expensive thing you could do with your money per hour. It's like a New York flight, New York to London is like 190 to $100,000. So you want to go to Dubai, that could be 250,000. So we're not talking like pennies here. So you really have to expand your network. When I first started, I was a phone warrior. I was making 100 calls a day, smile and dial, trying to get in touch with all these high level CEOs. And it was a grind, but I did that for 5 years straight, no vacations. And that's how I built my book of business to start off. Now I take a different approach. We use social media and marketing, and I travel to the biggest luxury events in the world. So I was at World Economic Forum in Davos. You go to Monaco Grand Prix, go to crypto events, things like that, where we're going to find clients. And so now the majority of my book is coming from personal relationships I have with my friends and friends of friends. And my brokers, they're hustling, they're making those phone calls. I had one, he said that he actually started knocking on doors in mansions and he booked a client that way. He started a conversation. He knocked on the door of this mansion. The guy actually answered, and they sat there at his doorstep, talked about private jets, and we've flown him multiple times. So you got to have a hustle. There's other
What?
brokers out there, and everybody is super cutthroat. It's like Sharks, Wolf of Wall Street style. So you have to stand out with your personality and be really consistent.
Yeah, it always surprises me when they answer making phone calls. And the numbers, and it always surprised me because when I talk to people, like I've heard of Sarah Blakely saying she called Neiman Marcus, like big call, and I'm like, does this still work today? Like the day.
Absolutely, because most millionaires started off in sales, so we respect the hustle. If somebody calls me and has a really good pitch, I know they're pitching me. I'll give them the time of day because it's like I've been through it. We've all been through it. Everybody who's successful and as a business owner has had to go through that sales process. And when you hear someone give a good pitch, you respect it and you give them the time. I do, at least. My first sales job was probably selling Girl Scout cookies in front of the supermarket. It made me so mad, but I never got commission from it. I'm like, why am I not getting paid for this free labor? But at the end of the day, every time I see a Girl Scout, I give them money. I might not eat the cookies, but I'll give them the money and give away the cookies. So you have to not be afraid, because I had a boss once telling me, you shouldn't be offended if somebody doesn't remember you. You should be upset with yourself for not being memorable. So if you feel like, oh no, I annoyed this guy because I called him 3 times, and he's like, oh, it's Nicole again. It's like, oh yeah, he knows my name. He remembered me. What would be worse is if he didn't know who I was at all. So you can't have that fear.
Wow, it's so interesting. And I think that there's a balance, especially in luxury, in terms of sale, because you don't want to be the annoying salesperson. And there's a way, and I think the best salespeople do it so naturally, conversational, right?
Well, yeah, I try to be friends with my clients, and I try to joke around with people, and you sell with stories. You don't say all the specs of the jet and all this boring stuff because people tune out. You want to say, I flew a client on the same exact jet from here to there, and we noticed that they were bringing skis, and on a Hawker 800 you just don't have enough baggage capacity for skis. So it looks like you're going to go skiing. And the same thing, when you notice people are going to surprise, are you going golfing? Like, I recommend a different jet, or we'll send your golf clubs or your skis ahead of time. So you have to anticipate problems before they exist, but also you sell with stories, not with specs.
Yeah, I'm an engineer, and every time I'm with engineers, they focus on the product, the stuff. I'm like, "Duh, duh, duh, duh. Let's talk about the emotional connection this product gonna bring, and the result that this gonna have in people's lives." It's brilliant. It's hard to do.
You have to
It's hard
paint
to
a
do.
picture. You got like you're a
Exactly.
natural storyteller.
Being so visual is like the best salespeople can do that. Bring the magic, the emotion, the feeling. I love it. Okay. Biggest myths about the jet industry.
Oh my God. So I get this question all the time. It's so annoying. Somebody will call and ask, is it cheaper to fly private with 20 people than going commercial or something like that? I'm like, it's just never cheaper. It's never cheaper. Don't think that it's going to cost less money to be on a private jet. Okay. It's the only instance where I could see where it could make sense is if you were planning on flying first class to Europe and you're going to spend 10 grand on a first class flight and you get a 16-seat plane, or like a 14-seater, and you don't stuff it. It could be like comparable to 10 first class tickets, right? For one charter flight. That might actually make sense, but in 20 grand from Miami to New York on a light jet that seats 7. So people misconception is that they think it could be comparable to commercial prices when it's not. And the other thing is people think it's ripoff, people who've never flown before. And to that I respond, you're thinking about how much your time is worth. But the people who are flying on these jets, their time's worth a lot more.
More. Yeah.
I had one client, he had to fly from headquarters in Pennsylvania and stop off in DC to speak with some congressman and then go to Eastern Europe for a nuclear power deal, like a $40 billion nuclear power deal, and then get back to headquarters. Spent over $250,000 on this flight. But it's the cost of doing business. And it would have been
Yeah.
impossible to do commercially, because on a commercial flight, you have to get there hours in advance. And then with this, you just pull your car up to the plane and you take off and you go. I don't even think he stayed in a hotel room because the schedule was so tight. The man like slept on the plane and went from one place to the other and got back.
Also, really interesting how much these people work, right? With people that are not in touch with people of high net worth, and they don't see the compromise and all of the logistics that goes behind it. Let me ask you, this is a out of the blue question, that not something that I mentioned to you before.
Sure.
Do you happen to see patterns in these individuals that are your client that you think that's the reason why they're so successful? Or are they successful because of different qualities that they have?
I learn much from my clients. I really love finding out who they are and what they do and getting to know them a little better when we have a little more rapport. But it varies so much. Like I have one guy, he's a maniac. I have no idea how he has money. But if somebody else who's like Fortune 500, we have trust fund people, we have professional athletes. It varies. Their personalities vary, and sometimes I mean, a lot of times you don't know what people do, and that's you don't. It's not my business, but it is interesting because I really admire them for getting to this level in life. And other people, I was just flying a family over to the Bahamas and it was out of necessity. This was actually a relatively affordable trip. It was around, I think it was $10,000 or something like that. And they had a whole bunch of children and they had to go from Tampa to Miami to take a commercial flight over to Nassau. And then they would have to take a boat to go to the island instead of just taking the prop straight from Tampa to the island. It was like just a lot easier for a family with like 4 kids to do that than to like take multiple cars and boats and airplanes and stuff like that. So, it's is it there's very wealthy millionaires and then there's like poor millionaires. If you're one millionaire, you really shouldn't be flying private. You should save your money for your kids' child, like you college fund and stuff like that. You could do turboprops, but I wouldn't recommend like breaking the bank to go fly like this 100 millionaire. Yeah, he could. It makes financial sense for him to do a $200,000 flight. But there's different levels of wealth, and like millionaires are not all the same.
This is so interesting. I've never heard low level millionaires who like they're in
One
the
million,
one right.
and like 1 million versus 900 million. It's a huge difference. Like $1 million doesn't get you anything in this world anymore.
Isn't that crazy? It's crazy that being a millionaire is not gonna get you very far nowadays. It's crazy. Now, Nicole, it's amazing talking to you. I could talk to you all day. I have all kinds of questions for you, but we're on the end of our episode, and I would like to capture one final question. If you could leave our audience with just one piece of advice, whether it's about life, business, or entrepreneurship, what would it be?
Gotta hustle and you gotta put in the hours. Living in Miami, you see a lot of people, they're hustling and stuff. Everybody's trying to start the business, but really, like, you can't underestimate the power of experience and working for somebody and learning from someone before you try to start your own company. I worked for several different brokerages before I started my own, and it's because of the experience I gained from learning from other experts in the field that I have the confidence and the experience to go ahead and provide this kind of service to my clients. But some people try to jump the gun and they want to start a business too soon and they fail. But there's nothing wrong with having a job for a little bit and then starting your business while you have a job or getting those years and hours under your belt before you take off on your own. So there's important to get the hard work done first.
That's a great advice. And where can people connect with you?
So you could find me on TikTok or Instagram or LinkedIn under Empress Jets. So it's at Empress Jets on all those platforms. And you could also find my website, www.empressjets.com. And so DM me or shoot me an email, Nicole at empressjets.com.
Perfect. And there you have it. If you ever wonder what it takes to build trust at 40,000 feet, now you know. It's not just about luxury, it's about leadership, clarity, hustle, and a commitment to excellence. If you are a successful entrepreneur with a story that could inspire and provide real value, I want to hear from you. Apply to be a guest at www.intellier.ai/be my guest. And as always, keep showing up, keep leveling up, and stay unstoppable. Thank you so much, Nicole, for coming.
Thank you.